Docking request accepted.
Good morning, New Eden! Today is January 19th, 2025, and this is the Federation Frontline Report. I'm your host, Frozen Fallout, and my co-host is Night Flyer.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So, frozen winter has sprung.
It has.
The North did not forget.
It's cold,
we went.
man.
Yeah, for those of you who listen from around the world, it was 44 degrees here 2 days ago, and today it's 0. So that's 0 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in
-3
Celsius.
for me.
Yeah, crazy. So really cold, but at least my wife got to ditch it. She work sent her to San Diego, so
Ah.
I'm like, oh, you poor bastard.
Yeah.
So,
All that warmth and sunlight.
Yeah, before we get too deep, what happened to your face?
Oh no. Yeah, I got caught by a lawnmower. Rough.
It took me a second. Like, what did he do? What's wrong?
He's still there. It's just it gets in the way, Like it gets out, and then I cut it down, and then it gets out, and then I cut it down. As soon as it starts like interfering with food eating, lip, that's I could have left this grown out for sure, but it's always good to just trim it down and let it get wild. Trim it down and let it get wild.
I get it. I completely understand. Oh, I just lost chat. Hold on. Yeah. So
yeah, today we're going to be talking about the community beat and the different announcements that just came out on the 22nd or no, not the 22nd. I have pulled up the wrong community beat. But it just came out yesterday or
it just came out yesterday, 2 days ago. It depends on where you are in the globe, I guess. But before we dive into that, I just want to talk about my in-game personal stuff, because we talked about our New Year's resolutions and stuff for like in-game, and we've got some big plans for the Federation Frontline and faction warfare and a lot of the stuff we're doing there. But I kind of took my first step finally this week. One of my first resolutions was trying to find money sources so that I can continue to faction warfare and not be a poor or rely on handouts all the time. So I started up my PI again with I have 3 alts, so I got them rolling their PI again. And I forgot, didn't know, couldn't remember. But Mango, my faction warfare alt, one of them is she already had planets and stuff all set up. So all I had to do was like return them back on. So I just totally forgot about it when I went to the wormhole. I shut down all my PI in high sec here, just outside of low sec. But she still had them, so I just had to turn them back on again. They don't all kind of line up with my end production, but it's there. But just in time to see the market crash on PI, I think over half of the things, you got to be real careful. I've been doing a lot of studying on Adam for Eve and looking at the PI calculator, and there's a lot of stuff on there, a lot of manufacturing of things. Anything under T4, most T4 you can make a profit on, but that's very labor intensive. So I stop at the T3 stuff. But half of that stuff you're gonna lose money or just bank even by the time you're paying taxes, especially when you're in high sec here. But I think they had the templates. I think a lot of people are kind of getting into it. They're talking about the zero threat of getting killed doing PI, which is a total lie. Don't anybody tell you that it's a passive income. It does take labor. It does take time. Once you got it
that
set up
pisses
and
me off when
running,
people are like passive income. It's like, do you do things to get it? Like eventually, like, do you eventually have to does it accumulate without you doing anything? That's true. Like, there's item accumulation that happens, but in order to do anything with that item accumulation, and you do need to start doing something with it because there's a limit to that item accumulation.
Yeah, when I lost my epithel when I was in the wormhole, so just flying dumb and not paying attention, going, "Oh, I'm safe. These are all my corp guys." Well, it's a goddamn wormhole. Like people come through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got smoked. So, yeah, but that happens. But I mean, you can make losses. But do you ever watch Loru Gaming at all? He does a lot of YouTubes and he does some Twitching.
No.
But he's been playing for like 10 years, I think he says in his intro. But he's kind of a character. But he throws some stuff down. But I watched his PI thing he did last week. But he's telling people that you can make $1 billion a month doing PI, and I'm like, all right, I've got 3 characters cooking, and I know what I'm doing. And if I break 150 mil in PI, that's profit. I mean, you're paying taxes. We'll get into that. But if he's telling people you're going to make $1 billion a month doing PI, I wasn't making that in the wormhole, and I had 4. I had 4 guys cooking. So, maybe I didn't have the best layout, but still, I mean.
Yeah, like high tech is that's a lot to. I mean, if he's talking about like, if you spin up like an insane amount of characters, and if you're 5 accounts, well, then you can make like $1 billion.
In nullsec, where your corp has got your back and they're not charging you jack for taxes. Yeah. So I think in the wormhole I was getting yanked for 1%, where my guys in high sec, like as we were talking, are getting hit for 20% per planet. So every time they pull something off the planet, it's costing them 1/5 of every dollar I make doing PI. Because you're going to get hit with, as you explained to me too, as I looked into, is the NPC is going to knock you for 10%, and then the person who owns the planet is going to get their 10%. That's 20%. So the other option I have is to move into low sec, and I looked at moving into Yvangir, but it's a dangerous place.
It's dangerous.
And I could make probably an extra 10% plus the bonus you're going to make because the planets produce more. But it's that whole risk reward. I was looking for something a little more passive. Like I said, I'm trying to make money, and the first epithel I lose or other transport I lose, it's going to eat into that cost. And it might only be a few billion, or a few million. But
well, the thing is, if you can time zone tank it, that'd be nice.
True too.
But Caviar was saying, so one thing they were asking was what crashed? What was the PI that crashed that you know of?
I don't know if crash is the term. I think that's something Oz had put out in his podcast, but there's minerals that crash. Morphite is taking a crash, but it depends on how you look at it. But a lot of the PI, the prices just come down. It's supply and demand, and there's a high supply now. So the demand for it's going down a bit, which means cost is coming down. And if you're paying a 20% tax plus a resale tax when you take it to JITA or wherever,
that hurts.
You just got to be smart about what you're doing. I mean, you're eventually, I don't know what's it cost to throw a PI planet down, a full PI planet, 10 mil at the most. So you'll get that back pretty quick. So your upfront cost is pretty nominal. But
I think one of the things that I like to do with
cautious.
The big thing that I want to do with PI though is instead of trying to make money with PI, I'm trying to supplement the stuff that I need for PI from PI. So there are like 4 items or possibly more, but 4 items that I need to get out of PI in order to help with my creation of my Navy ships. So because they have the special items that you have to make for that. So that's I don't really care about getting it to market or what the cost is of it or anything like that. It just is, it's a logistics thing. I want to have these items. I want them close to Hey Die Less. So do my PI around Hey Die Less, and then if I do lose the 1 million or what is it, 5 million ISK for the hauler that it takes to go get that items. I'm not worrying about the loss of the items. It sucks that I lost the items, but I'm not like that's a loss of profit, because I'm not caring about profit in that idea. I'm thinking about it in this concept of I just want to get some items, and I did lose a haul. That sucks, but in the end, I just want these items, like, and I want them to continuously pour into Yvangir and Hades for me. So,
yeah, we talked about this last show too, and I think we might get into that. We're making preservation seals or backup units.
Yeah,
if we can make those on site, but the problem is that not all the planets you need are in the same system. You have to go to a plasma planet, you have to go to a lava planet to get at least one of the resources, the antiviral thing. What is that?
There's a couple different things for that. So,
viral agent you got to get, and that again, it's not going to be on the planets that you need. So, but I think there's ways around that. There's ways to do it, especially if you got one character that's doing that, and another character doing something else. It may be. And this might be able to streamline that.
And this kind of ties, though, into what Caviar was saying here, was eventually you need to move material and consume it in production, or sell it, or try not to flood the market. And so one of the things I do is to try not to flood the market is that it's me consuming my own stuff, so I keep it out of the circulation of what's going on out there. And then I also don't care about what's going on with this, the price of this item. To a certain degree, if it's really easy for me to transport, which it is kind of easy for me to transport, and it crashes on that item and I can make a different item and make a better money off of it, that's a whole different thing. But I haven't even dug into it that deep, because I'm not willing to go into the depths that are needed to understand which item, and that it will change, so you got to keep it updated as to what item you want to be producing out of, this to make the best amount of ISK per hour, which is, we talk about that a lot, where it's not ISK per hour, it's fun per hour, but sometimes for some of these activities, ISK per hour is a big important factor, to be honest.
Yeah, it's something I got to take into account. I actually have a marketing thing I was going to talk to you about, but Remy Main hits the nail on the head too. Is that all these? It's like Snuff owns all the Pocos, or owns the company that owns the Pocos. And that's one thing we're talking about too. There's no way to control that. They're going to put a 10% tax on everything, which means you're paying that and the NPC tax of 10%. That's 20%. There's no way around it. You can't just you'd have to war deck whatever corp has got that Poco. And Bjorn B tried that prior to joining the CCP, and he had fleets out, and they were going to try to take over some of these planets, and that didn't go well. And he had a rather large fleet, but if you got somebody that's going to drop a Marshall fleet on you, in high sec, what are you going to do? The M+1 is one thing, but if you can't match, the ship damage.
So the problem, the biggest problem with that even is beyond that, which is the concept of we could probably, we could have a lot of fun burning stuff to the ground, because you just reinforce a shit ton of stuff, and if they, if they respond to one spot, you just go to another spot and you use stealth bombers, and you just harass and harass and harass and harass for weeks and months and years on end until they give up on having those Pocos. But then you're just burning the infrastructure to the ground. As soon as you put up yours, somebody's going to burn it to the ground then. So,
that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and if they're not, while you're burning it to the ground, and if they might be trying to replace it and stuff like that, but as soon as they give up, somebody else is going to come in there and start putting down their shit that's just as powerful of another group, and they're going to do the same tax. So you've changed nothing unless you can put down your own infrastructure. And if you put down your own infrastructure, it's really easy for another group to come in and burn it to the ground.
Yeah, exactly. But I said I'll be happy right until we get a production line set up. I'm happy with the 150 mil a month I'll make. That'll cover my ammo for the month, and the LP should be able to float the rest for a while. So I don't know. Again, we've talked about ratting, and we'll talk more about ratting here towards the end of this. But yeah, PI. We talked about the whole market. Again, it's just getting flooded. A lot of the PIs flooding into the market because a lot more people are doing it now. Since the change, I said I hadn't been doing it. I'm doing it now, so there's that. And then a lot of people are talking about
doing it now.
the Morphite price spike. So last I checked, I'm trying to follow it. Like I don't, harvest Morphite or
no, I don't really have any way of getting...
I mean, that's kind of an OSEC thing. But I know that Morphite's used for a lot of the T2 ships and the larger ships you got to have. I have other components and stuff that I know require Morphite, which comes from Narcotics. And I guess the price is down at. But our market is weird because I was trying to look at it, where it went from like 80 mil a unit, or sorry, 80,000 a unit to like 180,000 a unit within like days. But it seems to kind of fluctuate back and forth. So I don't know if that's the difference between sellers and buyers or just something that's in our local market. I was trying to look at the JITA pull up for it too, and I don't have that. I lost the screen. Great. But yeah, that's what they're saying. So that's what it really looks like, is that the price is like doubled. So that means like if you're making something, that component's going to cost a lot more to make. So I don't know how long it'll be before we see some ship costs that use that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the market report. I said Oz did a pretty good breakdown on it. I would recommend talking to him. So listening to his show. Again, I don't think either one of us are marketing experts at this point. Working on it, still trying.
Messing around with some stuff. I'm gonna take over Charm, which has got nobody there, so I'm just gonna put up my own. Just gonna buy a bunch of shit and just throw it up on the market, and then ask for people to buy and sell in that system. But I really like the Eve market system though, of buy orders and sell orders and how that all works. It's a very cool kind of little system where each individual station has its own market, basically, that you have to move. Like a lot of places, a lot of video games right now, if you buy something, like, you get it, right? It's yours. It's, of course it's in your inventory. Where's the inventory? Virtually like it's not, there's no physical location that you have to go pick shit up in and drop off. And like very little other games do that. And even if they do that, they don't have the single universe that we do that makes it all matter.
Karen Lynch wants to know what you want to buy. So I think you're still kind of big in like the compact stuff, aren't you?
Actually, yeah, that's one of the interesting things that I'm focusing on. Every compact item, 120 items in the game that have compact in their name, basically. The all of the items that are... So a lot of the NPC mission running stuff. So that's the reason why I'm setting up in Yvaingir. I'm going to be focusing in on getting people all of their, mission items that I'll put up for sale for you, and then you sell me all the mission items that you acquire from running missions. So there'll be some place for salvagers and looters and mission runners to have a place to sell for a decent price comparatively, probably to anywhere else in the galaxy. I'm gonna be putting up a good price because I can sell them for quite a bit of money where we're at. There's a lot of people that are using those items. So
yeah, I haven't other than buying minerals and stuff, and those are just for my
minerals is a big
use.
One. Yep, I need minerals. Yeah,
but yeah, I got to come up with some line of something I want to get into. I wouldn't mind trying to work on building the market up in some area. I don't know. Well, I had something with some T2 modules.
That's why you got to work with me, man, and we'll just take over Charm together. I've got there's so many items that need to be so you can get like on a character. I think the max is around 300 and something, like 307 or something like that. Like market orders is what I have on Frozen Fallout. and I have that on Kyle Rifter, and I have 260 of those slots used on both Frozen Fallout and Kyle Rifter right now, and I'm not even close to the stuff that I want to do. Like, that's just the compact stuff and a little bit of like a couple other things here and there, like minerals and ships and stuff like that, and a couple T2 items that I'm selling and stuff. But I have like the desire to like, I need like, so I'm setting all my other characters up now on all of my accounts that are Omega'd to be also sellers of items for me, so that I'm training them, making sure I'm doing the dailies for them so that they can boost themselves up, which I think is actually really cool. It's something that I think people overlook a lot with the dailies, is the ability to use it on every one of your characters now. Not just every account, it's every character matters. So now you go into every character, and now all of my characters, one has got the training, who's training purely by training, but now every one of them is getting unallocated skill points. And I'm able to actually allocate those skill points towards things that are slightly useful for that character to have, and I don't need them doing... It's the most passive income that you can come to in this game is station trading with just a station, and you don't move around, you buy and you sell in that fucking station. Like, that's where you buy and sell. And so I'm going to set these alts up as characters that are going to be buying and selling items in Hey Die Less, Yvangir, and Charmer is like my focus right now. I was going to do Orsalert, and I still might do Orsalert to a certain degree, but since I found Charm, I'm kind of like, no, we should really live like Charmer out, Yvangir, Hey Die Less.
Hey Die Less. Oh yeah.
That just makes it like life super easy. Like, we have a high sec corporation that lives out of Charm. We have our low sec corporation that lives out of Yvangir and Hey Die Less, and then we use that to like synergy off of each other. We can pull in resources. We don't have to go 6 jumps or whatever it takes to get to Orsalert. We just use the, Charm is like right fucking there. Charm is almost on the way from Dodixie. I think it is on the way from Dodixie to Jidda. So part of that path where there's a lot of traffic.
It can be. It's a little off. It's literally like a jump off.
Yeah, I think
it's not too bad.
But yeah, if you see
we'll
the
talk.
market,
I got something on that a little bit later too.
Oh, really?
But yeah, real quick, like we're talking about money like ISK per hour, and I actually found like a really good investment because I can actually purchase them very cheap here and sell them for a lot of money in Jita, and that is small arms. But the problem I started looking into is when I started doing the math, is small arms are 2 meters squared. So even in my largest hauler, which is what, 62 and a half or something like that for the mammoth, whatever that is, you cut that in half, it's only 26 units. Anyway, so I'm like, oh, I could do this. I go pick them up, fly them there. But in the end, I'm like, that's only like 18 mil. It's going to take me like an hour to do that. So you start talking about the ISK per hour and the risk, and I'm like, I don't know. That seems like a lot of work for like 18 mil. Maybe I'd do it if I just wanted to jump gates that day. I don't know. But I was like all happy that I found this. I'm like, this has got a huge margin on it. But to take advantage of it, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to take advantage of some of that stuff. Like, that's where marketing becomes, if you're not doing just station trading with one station and you don't move, then it becomes work again. It's not passive income anymore. If you got to warp from place to place. But some of us have the ability to, access to the ability to warp around in space, but not really the ability to do anything else. Maybe mine and maybe some light PvE activity that you're just 100% overpowering the situation, so you don't have to like worry about if you have to go AFK for 40 minutes or whatever. It's interesting with how there's possibilities of being able to like do some light activities in EVE Online, and people do that all the time where it's like, I gotta watch a TV show or whatever, And it's like, well, I'll have Eva on the background, and I'll make my jitted, travel from Jitta to Dixie while I'm watching a TV show, and and then you're like, look over at your screen, you're like, why am I in station? I was in my hauler. Like, oh, why am I in my pod? This is weird.
I've done that. I've double box. You're dual boxing where you got one guy that's hauling stuff, and then you're like PvEing with the other or whatever. And like I hit like a risky point in the PvE I was doing and forgot about my hauler that had just been sitting on a gate for God knows how long. It seriously could have been 10-15 minutes that my hauler was just sitting there like it jumped through. So scary things. Kevin was talking about he's got 860 M in trit. Not sure if that's value or metrics, meters squared. And I made the mistake of buying like 650 meters squared of trit. And you're like, yeah, it's great, except it's 3 systems away from where I need it to be. Yeah, and that's where
you might want to consider renting a U-Haul. So you go and you go buy a freighter, you go grab it, put it where you want it to go, and then you go back and you sell the freighter.
Yeah. I thought about it. I thought about spending the $3 to just get one to take it to 3, but it took me. I actually got it all. Oh, I didn't get all moved. I got it moved to Charm, but I want to get it into Vanguard. But I'm going to wait till we got a camp set up that I can do that. I don't know. I still want to get my trader. I want to get her into a hauler, but I don't know. Pulling the trigger on that, $3.5 bill. We'll see. That's my goal. That should be one of my goals. It should be one of my. I don't need it all that often. I think it's one of those things I don't need all that often, but when I need it, I want it like now. I want to move a whole bunch of stuff like right away.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, yeah. So, you want to get into this community beat?
Let's talk about community
half hour
beat.
To the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, this is what community beat for January 17th. YCC 127. I guess we're in now.
Yeah,
right?
Give me one second. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen here. Here we go. Community beat January 17th. I'll let you go through it here, though.
Okay.
I'm a with it. We don't need a word for word read through it.
No, we got the Eve Scouts celebrating their 10th anniversary with their wormhole connections, and I love Eve Scout. I've used them all the time. I think we were just really talking about how I had a Tengu that got asset forfeitured or set from forfeiture. So from nullsec and was in a high sec place down in God knows like wherever far south, catch somewhere, and someplace I never go. And I'm like, this is like a high end blue. It's got blue loot in it. Ratting Tengu. It was for doing 7 out of 10s. I was trying to do 6 out of 10s, but we do 7 once in a while. And it had been sitting there for like a year. And so, yeah, Eve Scout had a wormhole connection. Took me 3 jumps to go get it. I'm like, holy Christ. I think gate to gate one way was like 56 jumps. I thought about going there, doing the 56 jumps, and then using the Winter Nexus stuff to jump back to high sec somehow or someplace. But yeah, Wormhole Scout, I got that connection to cut through. We used to use it all the time with Noir.
Yes, yeah, very useful.
Yeah,
I use it a lot, especially if you are like they have an in-game bookmark channel where you can use all their. So I use their bookmarks like all the time, especially if you go to like Mimitar and Amar Warzone, which is one thing that kind of not pisses me off, but like they get all the cool shit. Like their shit is crazy over there. They've got Turner, they've got. Basically, they have Turner connected to Zarzak. two of the most like infamous like crazy
Rat's
places
nest.
with weird stuff. You know, and then with Turner having access to all those wormholes, you know, it would be nice if Galente and Caldari Space got something special, you know, like some kind of special system that did something special, you know. But we don't. We have. I mean, we've got Tama, you know, and Hey Die Less, and Nanamelia and OICX, you know, like, nothing special. I mean, we do have. Oh, I guess we have Old Man Star, you know, but nothing mechanically that changes, you know, with the cool gate that they got there. It should just randomly every once in a while shoot you off into some part of the galaxy if you use the Old Man Star gate.
Right.
So just randomly just fucks up and like you just end up anywhere in the galaxy or something.
Yeah, I'm not Velour, I'm in wherever.
Yeah, wormholes, you know, Eve Scouts are huge and it's awesome. Glad they, you know, 10 years now. Is that how long wormholes have been in the game, or are they younger than wormholes? I think
that's before my time. I'm not even 5 years old yet.
You're a child.
I'm just a child. Yeah.
Okay, so they're a little younger than what wormholes are. I remember when wormholes came out and it was just free for all of insanity. Like, just so much stupid shit happening. Especially, like, passes just going unpowered. That happened all over the fucking wormhole chains. Like, in the first month, it was crazy how many unpowered sticks were out there.
Yeah, I like using wormholes. I don't like living in wormhole space. It's not my thing. I don't know. Like I said, I've tried it twice. I didn't care for it either way. So, it's just... I want to play, and I just had so much time getting wrapped up in the logistics of how to live in that wormhole. And
that's the thing for me, is that I wasn't ready. I don't think I'll ever want to live in a wormhole, but I love using wormholes to travel, and I like day tripping, you know.
Yeah, I definitely love day tripping into a wormhole. Yeah. Speaking of wormholes, so one of our favorite Russian YouTubers and makers, iBeast, put out a video of him using the Cenotaph.
Oh yeah,
and it's actually really interesting because I was kind of curious of how good it is. I think it's like an hour-long video, but he gets in several fights for it, and you kind of see how that breacher tool works. And it was interesting. Okay.
But yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'll show you the intro here. Let's just go through that.
That's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool that he's got
a little fluid going through this.
Oh, he's using the intro. Nice. The show you the ship. Oh, cool. Yeah. I do like these. It's funny, my wife was really pissed off when she saw this. She's like, why am I getting an ad for the ship I'm getting in? She's like,
there's gotta be a way to like space out of it or whatever.
Yeah, escape. You can hit escape.
Okay, hit escape and get out of it. Right.
That's what I told her. I was like, you just hit escape, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just an Atron. I don't care. Like, move on. But he gets in one fight here with a couple of Gnosis-Sai. Drakers and Gnosis-Sai. I don't know where the Gnosis-Sai. And
okay, so let's. We'll see one of these fights here real quick. So he cloaks. I do love how this thing is like a... Ooh, they almost bubbled him. He got out.
So close.
Alright, so he's fighting somewhere. He's around a bank. Like... Yeah, he's at ESS, I think. Shooting at a Drake. Getting shot at by a Drake. So he's got shields. He's an active armor tank. Is that bomb launcher on?
You'll see it glow when it's on. Or when it gets on
there we
cooldown.
go.
But it makes a It makes an interesting sound, like it's like a thunk or something. So, yeah, you can see it streaking towards, so now it's hitting. But if you look at the module, you can see it now, it's on that cooldown.
And it looks like he turns it off right away, so he uses it sparingly. Because it doesn't stack. So if you throw another one at somebody, you got to throw it at somebody else, or you got to wait. So I'm not seeing hull damage being done to this guy.
No, I think it takes a while to get there, but he does get a kill mail from somebody who warps off. Who actually warps off grid, and I don't know if that. I'm just assuming that's from the breacher pod still affecting, because he was in low hull.
The breacher pod no longer doing straight hull damage; it's just doing damage per second now. Okay, it's not doing. That's right. It's not doing just hull damage anymore. It's doing damage per second.
Yeah, and it's a percentage.
Yeah.
So it's not a flat rate, I guess you call it. But I don't know. I mean, he's a great pilot, but he kicks these guys' ass.
Oh yeah, man, he is dominating. The Praxis is going. So you got that Drake. The Praxis is going down now. And
yeah, but his cap is up. His shields are up. He's
and
they're hitting him. So
I mean, I'm sure he's like blinged out like crazy.
Probably, but he's
and drugs.
No, he's not kiting all that fast, because I think he's only going like
800.
1K. Oh yeah, so 801K. It's not between that from the fights I saw. So he's not zipping around too fast. Like, you can hit him, they're just not.
It's not doing damage.
No.
Praxis dead.
Just not enough. Yeah, once he takes the Praxis out, there goes a lot of your electrical warfare is gone. Half of it's disappeared now.
Interesting.
But, yeah, it's a good video. As I said, I enjoyed it. It's just kind of music in the background. I don't know if they're hearing that on stream.
Yeah, they hear
he doesn't explain. He's not explaining or talking about anything on it.
Yeah.
But speaking of explanation, also putting out a video is Seraphim puts out a YouTube video. It's his first one. It does a real good job, I think, with editing and explaining. Hello, but he does kind of a newbie tutorial on D-Scan, which I thought was interesting. He got pretty deep in a couple of things, but I thought it was all good knowledge. Definitely, if you're a newbie and want some info on scanning, Seraphim has that YouTube out there. You can crack on it or log into the community beat on the EVE Online News and click on it there. It's a longer video too, but definitely goes to the importance of what D-Scan is.
Yeah, and that kind of reminds me that I am currently making a video for the guide to the new player experience for EVE Online. We just did 11 hours of footage last night. And I got through all of the tutorial, and with a day-old character, I made 15,000 LP by the end of the night, and had like 6 million ISK in my pocket, so gotten through all of the tutorials, got ships and stuff like that. I did lose a ship. I did get a kill. I got a kill in day one old character. Of course, it was faction warfare, so it was an empty like Kestrel that like came in to try and deflex a site that I was running, and so I just murdered it. And I was like,
it counts.
It counts, man. It counts. Counts for me. So.
Speaking of space hauling, we were talking about before. Not to cut you off, but Push X put out a thing with their stats of what they've accumulated this. You can check it out on the Reddit thread, and they also have an info post here on the community website. But if you need some hauling, Push X, like Red Frog, is one of those people that you can hire, and they kind of go all over. But I just thought it was interesting how much work they actually do.
Oh man, it is a massive amount of movement.
That's an industry. They got they kind of call out two of their pilots. One of them did like 11,000 contracts or something.
1,847 contracts, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to read it, but it's kind of small and I don't.
Non-JF routes.
Yeah, this is what I thought was interesting. Okay, so the Jita one I get. Jita to Amar, of course.
Oh wait, I see.
Jita to Heck. And then I thought this was kind of weird. The Jita to Botane, whatever, which is one jump out of Do-Dixie. But and then Do-Dixie's number 9. But what I thought was weird is number 8, which is Hatakni, which the only reason I know the system is because that's halfway between Do-Dixie and Jita. It's your halfway mark. And so I actually had, I used to station out of there with my market person, because when I was doing a lot of high-sec PvEing in the beginning, that was just a good home station for her, because she was always halfway. She could check the markets, say, all right, who gives me more money for this, Do-Dixie or Jita, and then could play the market that way. So I was trying to figure out why that was. Why is Hatakni so important from Jita? And then it kind of dawned on me. It's because it's a 0.9 system that's 2 jumps outside Udama. And so if you don't, Udama is that 0.5 system and is gate camped a lot. It's a bottleneck. And if you're going to go from Amara or Do-Dixie, you're going to go through there. If you're not going to go through the low sec route, which that's just it. People get ganked there all the time.
Dude, I actually have a story real quick about getting ganked.
Sure.
And so this is on the route through Udamia. I was worried more about Udamia than anywhere else, but immediately upon exiting Jita in a 1.0 system, I think, or 0.9 system, there were like 12, maybe not 12, maybe 6 tornadoes or something like that were sitting on the gate. And I was like, man, and I remember thinking when I was warping off the station, thinking, God, that took me a long time for my DST to go into warp. I wonder if somebody got a scan off on me. And I did have like 2 billion ISK worth of stuff. And so I jump through, I see them, and I'm like, okay, I'll just do the cloak warp trick, not a problem. So I do the cloak warp trip and I fuck it up. And I before I can enter warp, they hit me. And I go down to like 80% structure, and then all of a sudden they're just all blowing up all around me.
Oh no!
And then I just hit warp and I go. Like as soon as I get hit, they didn't even warp scram me or anything like that. Like I just continued hitting that warp button and boom, got off at 80% structure. And I remember going like, ooh, that was a little rough. Like I gotta like dock up here real quick, think about this. I'm like, Udamia's next. Like that's the next like thing. Like if I am just undocking from Jita and getting this, like this guy, I'm going to like get attacked in Udamia. But I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do the warp trick right. And then I just, continued on, and then Udamia had nothing in it. And it was like clear sailing the rest of the way.
Yeah, the last time I had like a big load and I went through there, I jumped through the gate and I couldn't do the cloak trick because I landed right on one of their scouts. So I jumped through. I'm uncloaked. I can't recloak. I'm like, oh crap. I said, please just don't think what I have in my hull is enough for you to deal with. So luckily I was in the Mastodon, so it's not the easiest kill. It's got some, I got some pretty tanky shield in there. So
yeah, I was lucky. I tanked the living shit out of my thing, and I went with like a armor tank on it with a little bit of hull tank. So that extra hull tank, I think, is what saved me basically. I think I had like 70,000 EHP on it, and they did like 60,000 damage in one. Like.
Yeah. Well, I could, you get that many tornadoes, you think you're just going to alpha somebody. So the fact they didn't is just awesome.
Yeah, I just was watching them all blow up, and I was just like, just a smile hit my face. I was like, all right, like, there we go.
That's fine.
Good fight. Like, and if they had blown me up, I would have been like, good on you. Man. You got it. And,
good
like,
on you.
I fucked up. Like, lots of stuff I could have done. And of course, Canuck Down Under streams his Amar victory out of those religious fanatics in their cult of
And they're
ecstasy.
slavers, bunch of slavers.
Bunch of slavers. That's okay. You know, well, it's not, but it's
Nah, it's not okay.
I think they've reformed. You know, I believe that that's the statement is that they no longer believe in slavery. They're lying, but they say.
Yeah, but the Minmatar people working for them choose to work for them for free.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, I've got a gun to their head. Why wouldn't they work for free?
Yeah. What's that called? Institutionalization.
Right.
Like when you go to prison, it's the only life you know.
Right.
So.
Yeah. All right. So moving on from PushX. So PushX is a really great thing. Check it on out. There's a bunch of different. There's also Red Frog, Black Frog, stuff like that. But really awesome to see PushX and how much they have really, releasing all these stats. This is a nice little picture that they got here.
Yeah, but space trucking is an industry.
And I am proud to announce that the May meetup in Madison has been put on the community hub here. So you can check out our website for more information. So they've got that. We do have tickets on sale for Madison meetup right now, but they are free tickets. So, and I don't know, I thought this was kind of smart of me to use. I use Eventbrite just like Eve FanFest. So I thought that what they used as their thing, and it was easy for me to create free tickets for different events that I want to throw in the world for Eve. And I was like, you know what? If FanFest used it, then people should feel like that's a good site. Like, and it's nice actually. It's kind of cool. It's if you do join and you sign up for a ticket, I ask for your EVE Online name, your character, what alliance that you're in, what corporation that you're in, and we might have some specialized merch that we might throw out there, some swag with your name on it for free, so get in on this.
Hard to beat that. And if you don't want any of that, you don't sign up. It's a bar. You can just walk in.
Yeah, you can. Tickets are free and not required. We can't stop you from coming to IO.
I don't think we can make this any easier for people. If you're in Madison, show up and hang out.
I did post on the Madison Reddit, and I did get a decent amount of responses and upvotes, like 20 upvotes, and like a few responses from people that were like, I remember Eve, I used to play that, I might check that out,
Oh,
and we
funny.
have we haven't even got all the people that I know are going to be coming.
I didn't buy my tickets.
Right, you haven't bought your tickets yet.
Do that.
So I would but we're already 12 tickets in. Like people.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, and I know that there's another like 5, give or take, that need to be bought so far, by friends that I know that are going to be coming. So,
well, my kid's like, well, what are you going to do if like 100 people show up? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess we're going to have to open up Frozen's garage for the after party. We'll do it the old.
The old style, man.
Yeah, the summer swarm.
I've got the land to handle 100 people.
You got a big yard. We could I'm sure we'll do a bonfire anyway after the event for those who wish to partake. It's not too far.
And then, one of the big things that, there's 150 people is the capacity of the place. We have 50 tickets on sale. If we sell 50 tickets, which is, it's possible actually that a person just comes in and is like, I'm going to buy all the tickets and be an asshole. But if we do have all of these tickets, like the more tickets that we sell, which we're not, like I said, this is free. I hate saying sell. The more tickets that we give to people, the more that we have of buy-in power of talking to IO and saying that we want to throw up like a banner, if you could put up like EVE Online, like, stuff for Twitch, like if you can watch, because they have Twitch, they have all these TVs and stuff, and they put up Twitch stuff all the time. so we could have them put up Twitch stuff for Eve during that event. We can probably bring in a banner and a few other things, which we already had, like, I think 15 to 20 people last time that we did this. So if we can get like 20 to 30, 50 people, like, that would be huge.
Yeah, and it helps the bar out too. If we know, or if they know we're walking in with 30, 40 people, then they can bring in the bartenders to help that out if they need to bring in an extra bartender.
Because we're going to be arriving early, because like 5 o'clock in Madison on a Saturday at IO is like 15, 20 people, you know, like for the max that they kind of get to at that hour. So if you walk in with like 50 or 100 people, like they're gonna be like, what? So no, and I have talked to them in the past, and I have thrown, you know, because we've run 3 years now that we've talked to them, and we haven't had the size that needs to warrant anything special. You know, like they're just like, oh, you're gonna bring 10 to 20 people? That's like, we handle that every day without a problem. Like that's
but we had, you know, there's more people last year than the year before, and hopefully there'll be more people this year than there was last year, and that's kind of the whole
we're
thing.
On the community beat this year, so
there you go. Yeah, so I don't know if people are going to fly in for it, but you might, you know. Rain had talked about coming down last time, but she had family stuff going on. I think she lives up in Minnesota. And so it'd be nice. It'd be nice to see, you know, everybody come out. It's a good social event. There's a lot of stand-up video games, pinball and stuff to play. We'll do a Killer Bee tournament.
Yeah, there's a lot of old school, cool.
Yeah, and they usually have a taco. They don't. Oh, they do soup. Do they serve food there, or is it just the taco trucks?
No, they have. They do have pizza. Pizzas. So they do have vegan pizza and regular pizza. It's, you know, it's not like the greatest pizza in the world, but it's actually really good. Pizza. Like it's above bar pizza, I would say. It's not. It's because normally bar pizza is just like frozen pizza thrown into
Jack's,
like a thing. So
Red Baron.
Right. Yeah, and this is more of like a custom special. Like it's a decent price, and it's not giant. Like, you can't get big ass pizzas. You can't, you know, and it's not small, but it's like, you know, a decent size for an individual or 2 people to eat for sure.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, they had the taco truck show up last time. They're super good. So
yeah, and I mean Madison on a Wednesday or on a Saturday with IO will have a food truck normally there, like, and if we let them know ahead of time that there's 20 to like 50 people coming, then they'll have, like, you know, because then the food truck knows that, hey, that's, you know, and then they've got people walking. Willie Street is very busy, so it's
because it's literally IO is on it's on William Street, which is just down from the Capitol building, like what, 3-4 blocks. So there's everything down there. If you don't want what's there, there's plenty of things to do around town. But again,
we're going to go to dinner or lunch, you know, before. We'll have a lunch meetup where, you know, we're going to go to probably the Weary Traveler. Where we went last time, and that was really, really awesome. It's very nearby.
That's a good place.
And so then we'll, you know, as a crew, we'll arrive early to the event, you know, probably like 3 or 4 o'clock, because we'll get to the Weary Traveler probably about 1 and set up, you know, eat and everything, and then get to the event, you know, by 3 or 4 and set up shop so that we're ready by 5.
Yeah. Good stuff. Should be fun. If you're in the area, swing on by.
Absolutely.
And to wrap up the community beat, of course, on a sad note, say farewell to Wayne 1. Played E for 20 plus years and passed away recently. He was a leader in Banderlogs Alliance. They had a Sino-Vigil for him in BTEC 9C24 to honor him. There is a link to the YouTube for that Sino-Vigil that was put out by, it's in my notes, right? Yeah, Synergy of Steel. And I kind of watched it, but if you really want to start crying, I might cry a little bit now. At about 5:10, they do a great musical rendition of the Sino is now lit. It's really cool. So, stupid.
Yeah,
game.
they have it totally on here. So you can watch the whole thing here.
Again, it's a tearjerker. I think that's something that's great about this game. We talked about it pre-show about how you have this. It's a video game, but it becomes more than that. It becomes more real.
Well, that's the thing of like the human connection that you make in this game is real. Like the interactions that you have with people are real. When you lose an item or you lose something in this game, it's real. But also like when you lose a friend in this game, it's real. Like that's as real as it fucking gets.
Yeah.
Like that it doesn't matter if you only knew somebody through digital interaction with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a thing that I think Eve creates like quite an interesting base of interaction. Like it's another universe that we have the pleasure to interact with. That this is unbelievable that we exist in the first place, but that we can create a digital world that thousands of people interact with each other from all across the world in a very different way than you could ever interact with somebody. Like there's the like I was saying before, I think before we got on the show here, I was talking about how like I would have never met Nightflyer had it not been for the digital age. Like Eve is of course a huge link between us, but this whole idea of the ability to just meet Nightflyer would not be possible if it wasn't for the digital age. Like,
which I think everybody should do. Meet Nightflower.
Yeah, everybody meets Nightflower. So we're okay. So you're gonna give out your address, and we can all just show up at any time, right?
You could, yeah.
You could. He's like, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know where you're gonna sleep, but sure.
I got places for you to sleep if you show up at my house.
But yeah, I think it's this reminder of seeing this just kind of got me thinking about legacy. What you leave behind. And I got kids and I got my career and that kind of stuff in the real world. But I like to think about the impact I might have in a world of like Eve. Like, is what I'm doing matter? Does what I do account for anything? And I hope it has a little bit, and I hope to make it more. We talk about how much you and I love this game, and I think it's a big part of it. Of what can I do to have a lasting impact here? And if I have when my day comes and you guys do my Sino Vigil, like you're in charge of that, by the way.
Yeah. We sacrificed many a dread that night.
I think that's something you can kind of hope for. What kind of impact you have in real life, and what do you have in this life? And
yeah, I think about that a lot, where it's the idea of like, for example, like I've run this Madison meetup, and I've brought people that I've never met before over to my house and been like, come over and hang out, like just meeting you on the internet. Like I could live my life in fear that these people will fuck me over in some way, shape, or form because now they know where I live, type kind of stuff. I can live my life like this, or I can live my life in a way where I'm just trying to spread, like I'm not worried about, I'm worried about, people affecting me. I lock my doors when I need to lock my doors, right? But like, I'm going to live my life in a way of like, I'm going to be more worried about how much I impact other people and less about how other people impact me. Like that, I want to make sure that I bring a good vibe to the universe, like that I'm more concerned about what I'm putting out there and less concerned about what people are trying to do to me. Because it's
I think that's a lot of a nice philosophy on life, what's the message I'm putting out there? And like EVE Online, as we always say, I will shoot you in the face in game, but come real life, we will share a beer and we will laugh about it.
So, right. Yeah, no, and we the thing, even in game, it's like, we'll shoot you in the face, but if you hit me up and we talk to each other, I'll talk to you like a human. I'm not going to be like mean.
Do you want to tell the trick story from last week? You want to get into that or no?
Oh, well, so Tricks, last week we had a little, fight with Tricks where we were throwing out a meme fleet and we were just kind of having a little bit of fun. We did kill Tricks' Cyno. I thought that it was a trap, to be honest. I thought that
I think we all did.
To trap us with something, but it turned out to be his, trying to move the fleet into system to have some fun. So he came, pretty heavy-handed. It just completely wiped us off the board with us getting 0 kills and them killing 8 of our battle cruisers basically, and a couple of our cruisers, and we were just having fun. But I kind of after that I was like, you know what, all right, I'm done. There we go. You're just gonna if we try and have fun at all, you're just gonna bring 150% effort in order to ensure that because you already outnumber us, so you're going to outnumber us and you're going to come with heavier comp than we were, because we were
and that was
70% cruiser, 80 or 30% battle cruiser, and so I was I wasn't mad that it was we never agreed on what there's no agreement between me and him on what we can bring or what we can do.
But that's been the back and forth with the battle with this, is that they've always got the numbers, so we tried to counter by bringing bigger ships, but not outnumbering. Like I said, it was a lot of auger navy issues, and which was more than enough for what they were fielding, because there's 10 of us and 15, 20 of them, and a lot of destroyers and everything. So
we did have that night, I think we did have about 14, 15, maybe it was a little bit 17, bigger, but they were up to 20, 30 in their number, and they had 6 scythes that they. So
we're just trying to make it a fight. We want to, we don't want to get spanked. We don't really want to spank them. So we're we'll go heavy if you're going to throw the numbers at us. So.
Right, and they have the advantage of they see our stream, they know where we're at. We set up first always. They come in and respond to us. And I'm fine with that, that's all of that kind of adds up. But I was but I'm not gonna, I was well, we did our thing and you crushed us, so content's done for the night for me. I'm not going to be content anymore.
We're going back to Thrashers.
If you're not gonna make it, we didn't even do. I was I'm done. I just quit that night.
I parked my. I got
pissed.
I wasn't yelled at by my wife.
I'm gonna quit this game pissed, but I was I'm just done for the night. I'm not gonna be content for the night anymore. We tried to throw out something fun to have some fun with, and they were you can't have fun anymore. That's not allowed in this game, and that's their right to do that. I could have warped us off and not took the engagement, which is there's plenty. Like I always say, it's always my fault if I fuck up. I can't. Tricks did nothing wrong really in the end. He just he decided
he didn't want
to
play our game, and
that's his right to do that. But he knew that was a morale hit he was not intending to do. So they did send us a 10 Navy absolution, or the the Amar Navy Navy prophecy. So we've got 10 Navy prophecies in Hay-Dealies now, as an olive branch and a replacement of our losses for the meme. Because we were we can't have our Logi can't get over 50,000 EHP, right? A T1 Logi it's very hard for it to get anywhere near anything of a real tank. So we were trying to figure out ways to get 80 to 100,000 EHP out of your Logi. So we were looking at Navy ships and Navy augers and stuff. It's kind of memey. It might have worked. I've still got some things that I think, I think I can rework a couple of things and it'll feel a lot better. I'm gonna still have fun with it, but the absolution or having the prophecy navy issues to add into the mix now sounds even more fun. So we'll see how that all goes.
Yeah. A quick side note on that: we did, after we took down his Falcon, a lot of us sent him cash. So
yeah, we did.
I think at least half of us sent him like 20 mil. Like, hey, whoops.
Yeah, when I found out that it was I tried to apologize for it. I really did think that it was going to be a trap. That there was just going to, like, as soon as we started shooting at them, there was going to be like 50 ships that just appeared out of nowhere and started like volleying us off the field. But
the whole point to get to that story or go through that story was to kind of show that even though in game we're going to shoot each other, there's still a friendship there. There's still some camaraderie, if you want to say it. But I think so many of us are really looking just for good fights. I want fights that take a while, that can go on for a bit, that's not just one-sided.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing, is we're all here kind of for good fights to a certain degree. It's not 0.0. We're not here to take space, to kick somebody out, to ruin their alliance. I don't want Caldari to fail Cascade. The worst thing that could happen is me trying to destroy the social bonds of the Caldari. That's not... I'm here to strengthen the social bonds of the Gallente, and I want the Caldari to have strong social bonds too. And I want to work with and do stuff with the Caldari sometimes. Sometimes we need to team up and take out...
Yeah, we have done that.
Yeah, absolutely. Multiple times. That I have respect for Trix. Trix has respect for me. And this was a show of respect from them, that they were like, they didn't... I think they would agree that they did nothing wrong. But it was, to ensure that morale is understood, and that what they didn't say, I wouldn't say it's wrong, but they did come heavy-handed, and it's just not fun. I would agree that it's not. I think they would agree that it's not fun for what they did, for them or us, to a certain degree. For them, of course, it was much more fun than it was for us, but for them, it could have been much more fun if there was if the slug out fight lasted 30 to 2 hours, 30 minutes to 2 hours, rather than the 5 minutes that it took them to like wipe out our shit, and then just we left, and then that was the end of content for the night.
But Carrion Lich, we do have, not trying to be nice to the enemy, but I guess we are. I don't know if you want to call it like a respect thing. I think unlike other wars or conflicts or whatever, I don't hate anybody in the Caldari. I don't know them. It's again where we kind of talk. There's a reality to this game of the people side of it. The game itself is just a game. I mean, if it was checkers, I don't hate the red checkers any more than any other checker on the board or chess, however you want to put it. It's not the same. It's not a hatred there. I'm looking for content. I want to have fun. I want to see if my group of guys can get in ships that are set up a certain way, so we can go up against your ships that are set up a certain way, and we'll slug it out and see if we can pull off something miraculous. The idea is can you win that close fight? I think is more exciting than the complete, desecration of the other side. You get. I think that's why a lot of people hate gate camps, because, it's a decimation. You're going to jump through, I'm a solo ship and you've got 20 catalysts on the other side, or thrashers or gnosis or whatever. It's not a fair fight. There's no way I'm coming out of this with a moral victory of, well, at least I took one of them with me. You're smoked. And
I do have to say that it feels really good when you get away from people like that. You get back through the gate, or you escape a gate camp that's got like 30 people, and it's like, oh my god, like you guys. Also, I have done it where I've been like a thrasher, and I've been like, okay, I'm just locking up that fucking stiletto, the only stiletto here, and I'm just going to shoot it and then continuously hit the warp button. And I did that, and I killed the tackle and got out. like before they could do anything. It was epic. Like there is always a possibility of something to do, and you know that it's if you jumped into first of all if you jump into 30 people that are gate camping something, you already fucked up somehow. Like you shouldn't be in that position, and if you are in that position, you should have you should set yourself up with options to get out. The cloak warp trick is, you know, cloak MWD warp clip trick, or even just overheat your micro warp drive and get back to the gate and do that enough times till you split them up and then burn off the gate, kill the tackle, and get the fuck out. Like there's so many cool fucking things you can do in Eve to get
I don't want to make it. I don't want to make it sound like I'm ragging on gate camps. We do them all the time. They're an essential part of the game. Just like high sec ganking. You know, I flew with a couple of streams with Zanus, who was in code. It used to be safety, and or is it the code of safety, vice versa? I don't remember. But whatever. I mean, you're doing high sec ganking, and again, I think it's an essential part of the game. You have to know you're not safe. I think I think it's that AFK part of the game where if you think I'm not going to get killed, again, where's the risk? The risk is where the fun's at.
Right.
You know, I think the other side of it is just essential to the gameplay. Like doing the PI in high sec, it's mostly safe, 99% safe. But you know, I'm not doing it because I love it. I'm doing it because it's means to an end. I'm going to get 100 mil. And with that, I can buy ammo, and with that, I can keep playing the game. You know, right. I can play my game. So, again, it's essential parts of the game.
All right, so should we go over the patch notes here? So there was
they're pretty quick.
Minor patch notes here, and I think you kind of know, and I've kind of read up about this, but if you kind of want to go over the changes that they did here, mostly to Potch space, right?
Yeah, the biggest ones are the Potch bin. The observatory resonance keys came out. So I guess there's these sites, and you go in there and you can get like 3 bill. And some people are happy with it, some people are sad. The problem is if you go into the site and then people come in and fight you in there, you can miss out on your profit, or if they don't fight you, they can steal part of your profit. It's designed for like 15 people. I think that could be a problem, because if you're in there with 15 people, because that's your payout, and then a fleet of 30 people come in and destroy you or push you out, that kind of sucks. So CCP's fixed to it. And again, I'm not an expert on Potchfin mechanics at all, but CCP's fixed to it is that your players would have these keys. You can buy these NPC keys. They also will drop when you finish the site. But the keys initially are 30 mil. And so 30 mil times 15 is math. So, which is what, 450 mil, I think we came up with earlier. Yeah. So that's what you have to come up with just to do this site. Now, once you use this key, which is something they fix later on too. Once you use this key, it opens the site for you, so you can go in. So if you leave, I think you still have access to it as long as the site still exists. I guess they have a problem.
They changed the way that keys work. Yeah. So once you've activated key for yourself, it'll always be open for you.
It shouldn't take multiple keys. I think that was a problem before too.
If you warped out.
If you hit it and didn't go in, then you had to hit it again. Now you're burning all these keys. So now the keys kind of stay open. But CCP, is my understanding, is their thought is, well, now if people want to fight you or try to gank you, then they're going to have to do an investment in these keys too to follow you into this site.
Yeah, I think a lot of stuff that I saw on that was that people are really pissed off about that, and they really feel like it's a pay to PvP mechanic. That's kind of weird. Like a pay in game is, of course, to PvP, but also that the feeling was like, why didn't you just use 15 keys and it's open forever now? You know, like, and now it's it's a do you want people to? The idea is, do you want people to contest these sites, or do you want these sites to be safe, easy ISK making activities? And they have moved the needle closer to safer ISK activities, and people are already upset about how much is coming out of Potch. So I don't think this is a good change from what I've seen, but I will put a nice little asterisk there and say that I am nowhere near an expert in any way, shape, or form. I am nowhere even near. I'm not even a citizen, nor even a day tripper really in Potch. Like I don't really do any of this stuff at all in Potch. I just know that there's a massive ISK faucet that seems to be pouring out of Potch, and people are really pissed off that it's controlled by pretty much like 15 people.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I know about these sites.
Not 15 people that they're all in one fleet. I'm talking about like of
one
all
guy.
of all of the EVE Galaxy, the hundreds of thousands of people who play this game, there's like 15 humans who do everything that are the activities in Potch, and no other humans get to do activities in Potch. There's just 15 guys with like 30 characters each doing whatever the fuck they want, and that they control all of Potch in the end. Whether they're working together, or divvied up, or whatever, there's like basically like a very small handful of humans who control a massive bot army or a massive just alt army that's not doing anything illegal, everything by the book, but they're able to a very handful of people get to do anything in Potch, and that 98% of EVE, 99.999% of EVE doesn't get to do anything in Potch, and that these guys are just filling massive amounts of money into their pockets, basically.
Yeah. So the other thing that CCP has done is to balance out the payout. So you have to pay the $450 to get into the site. Well, now the site will pay $3.3 billion with a B. So that's a lot of cash for you and me. But I do know that these are Marauder sites. So typically it's going to be 15 people in Marauders.
Right. So in order to field a fleet, you got to have like an investment of like 100 billion ISK, like
I would think, yeah.
30 to 100 billion ISK that you got to throw to setting this up. But if you run 10 of those sites, you've made back a decent chunk. And if you run 100 of those sites, now you're, way in the green. But, can it be contested? And now it's less likely to be contested. So there is also standing changes. I think these are kind of huge here, though. This is what I think influences me, is that now I get to go to Potch and do stuff in Potch more because I didn't want to fuck with the standing stuff. So I used to be good, had to be good with the Triglavian 1.0 and 2.0 respectively to use fitting and repair. Now I need to be at least negative 0.05, which I am positive with the Triglavian. By a very small amount. So now I can use fitting and repair stations in Potch. I can go to Potch now and use it for more than just a way station while I try to get to low secors or high sector 0.0, because using the filament system to transport myself.
Yeah, because sometimes you just want to dock up. Like, I'm out doing whatever I'm doing, and I use the filament to try to get home. Well, then I gotta pee. Bio break, I want to be able to dock up. You can't. You still gotta complete your mission. You still gotta go. So, to me, that's gonna be a good standing or a good change.
Yeah, no, that's huge. Manufacturing is going to be reduced to 3.0 from 4.0. Not going to affect me. Corporate offices are affected by the same. Minor reductions in everything else. Standings will no longer be gained by destroying stellar observatories, another thing that doesn't really matter in general for me. I don't know what that means in general for everybody else that lives in Potch. But standings are no longer gained from the Gunstar. I don't know what the fuck that means. But the big one that really does matter is the fitting and repair. We can actually like fit and repair ourselves in Potch now, as long as you're not negative, and you try to avoid negative Triglavian standings if you're playing Eve. To be honest, unless you've got a plan, and if you got a plan, you got a plan. Gunstar is the heavy gate guns. Interesting. But yeah, OPEC. So OTEC back in the day, I would say has a similar feeling to like what they're doing with Potch to a certain degree. But I don't know. Like the OTEC was very, very open. It was a very everybody knew about it. It was treaties were signed. Like declarations were made. Potch seems to be very like, I don't know who the fuck is running Potch, but I know it's like 15 guys. I don't know who those 15 are or what alliance they belong to. I'm guessing Frat, Goons, and the OTEC, shit. Like we've got, Pandemic, you've got Goons, you've got Frat, right? Brave, maybe, a couple other massive organizations. Int probably has got a guy, each one of them has got a guy who does something in this system. It's got 15 other guys that do things, 15 characters, accounts that are all Omega and epic, and they're awesome and they're super cool, and they're doing God's work, right? So system-wide effects. There's stuff about decloaking pulses, changing from 60 minutes to 6 minutes, from 30 or 60% chance to decloak you to 30% chance. I don't know what any of this stuff is. Increase repair bonus from 30% to 30%, from 30 to 25%. Some minor stuff here. Some more talking about
fixing PvE and wormholes. If capital's not on scene, then the second wave won't come in or something. Yeah. I don't know. Sounds like a crab thing.
Some other more NP, more ways to make massive amounts of money in Eve for the top 0.00001% that exists.
But again, we're low sec people, so the Potch fin null sec changes aren't huge for us, and we're not authorities on that. At least I know I'm sure as hell not. So
I don't know. It's one of those things that like I just feel like there needs to be love to low sec. Like the next like big huge look at thing needs to be not faction warfare, not 0.0, not high sec. It needs to be low sec. Low sec needs to get a ton of love. Missions need to be better. There needs to be reasons to live in low sec. There needs to be reasons to come out in low sec with a 20 million-ish cruiser to make good money. Like, you should be able to make good money in 20th million cruiser, and I should be able to kill your 20 million-ish cruiser while you're trying to make that money, and you should not get pissed off about it, and I should be happy with my 20 million-ish kill that I got. Like you should be like, oh, good, you got me. I'm just going to go do the thing that I've been doing now for the past 3 hours and make, like, that ship back, 20 times over, basically. So that's fine that I lost it, and I'm okay with throwing my ships out there and losing it multiple times, even with the detriment to the amount of time that it took to reship myself, because fucking low sec is awesome. It should be where everyone should die. Null sec is where you build an empire, and you prevent anybody from dying. And you make sure that your citizens get to build their whatever, or mine, or rat, or whatever in peace. And that when one enemy appears on local, that, everybody rushes and hides and does their shit. Low sec should be where, like, you're like, well, there's like 5 other people in the system, but who gives a fuck? Like, what are they gonna do? Probe me down? Let's go for it. Do it. Give it a shot. I'll use D-scan. It should be the D-scan, Like, I don't care about you if you're in system as much as I care about you when you're on D-scan. Like, as soon as you hit D-scan, then I'm like, okay, you care. You think about things. There's combat probes on D-scan. Like, low sec should be all about D-scan, 0.0 should be all about local, and high sec should be you're fucking crazy for being here in the first place, but I guess, think you're safe. And also, I'm at work, so, I don't want to deal with low sec. So that's high sec. High sec is I'm at work, so I'm willing to lose the ship still, but it's just I just can't hit the descan button right now or look at local.
Yeah, Remain said something about Snuffed being in low sec, and there's two ways to look at that. Fuck Snuff, but
hold on.
Sometimes they're a great equalizer in low sec, because if I'm going to try to big fish a system, I have to take Snuff into account. If that makes sense. If I decide, hey, I'm going to drop my carrier and I'm going to go up against all these other guys in faction warfare, no, that's going to be a thing. No, maybe not a carrier. It's probably not the best example, but you know what I'm talking about. If I'm going to start, I didn't even say a battleship. I'm going to start bringing a battleship to a cruiser fight. Yeah, you've got to take, Snuff into account, because, you're throwing chum in the water at that point. So that'll work for you and can work against you. Because we've had it. We've been there.
Yep.
We're in our cruisers, we're in our ENIs, and all of a sudden someone's going to drop, Christ, what was that?
Marshals and
but we were in Haid, and they dropped something big. It wasn't a Revelant, it wasn't something that big, but say starts throwing a Paladin or something around. Okay, that's that's not a fair fight. Like that's not the caliber of battle we're into, here at this time. And so next thing you know, hey, there's the Sino ship. Although I have, again, fuck Snuff, because we've had that too, where someone drops a Hyperion and all of a sudden now you've got the Sino popping. You're like, really? You guys needed to drop, a Marshal fleet on a Hyperion? Like,
I mean, the one thing to kind of look at, though, when it comes to that is the way that I always view Snuff is, of course, I'm a big fuck Snuff person, but I even have a button for it on my channel for us all to hit whatever the fuck you want to say. Fuck Snuff, because fuck Snuff. But it's super cheap, too. It's like 100 channel points. Like, anybody can say fuck Snuff after watching me for like 3 fucking minutes. And the reason why that I say fuck Snuff is because Snuff is one of the most powerful, and they're a fairly toxic organization. They are fairly toxic. They are willing to be toxic. They like being toxic, and that's their MO. Being a toxic community is what they want to be. And that's okay. Because the thing about it is that regardless of Snuff being a toxic community, the idea of a reigning king of Lowsec is a toxic position. However, it is a position that will be filled regardless of who is in that position. Like, so if Snuff didn't exist, Shadow Cartel or somebody other would take that position and they would become toxic, and they would want to be toxic because that's the nature of their community. Like, the nature, the concept of what you're trying to do, the taking over of Lowsec, ensuring that anybody that puts up structures in Lowsec or any area that your influence is over in Lowsec, where it's not supposed to be an area where people can own space, but you ensure that your dominance of superpower, as well as just the way that you want to run your community. You want to be toxic. You want to be somebody that says everybody's a piece of shit. I fucking hate everybody. We're dominant. If you're a low-sec organization, a small group or whatever, we want to dominate you and smash and destroy all your shit if you're trying to do stuff here, because that's the nature of what we like, how we want to be as we don't want to foster a welcoming community. We want to foster a conflict community, and that's okay. Like, that's Eve. That's the point of Eve for a large part. Like, that's the reason why you will never have somebody running Lowsec that isn't toxic. Like, there's no organization that can come in and run Lowsec and not be toxic after you get to that level of absolute power corrupts absolutely. And once you become an absolute power of Losec, you are corrupted. Unless, some benevolent kings, benevolent dictatorships do happen for sure. But it's very rare. And as soon as that benevolent king dies or whatever, like that empire, which Eve is actually, it's only 20 years old, so, there's a possibility of a benevolent king that could exist for 20 years, and so the entire existence of Eve is run by a benevolent human. That's not been the case. I can't think of a benevolent leader in Eve. I mean, there was a few examples out there. Cochise, I believe, was a very interesting benevolent leader. Jade Constantine was a very interesting possible benevolent leader type kind of stuff. But for the most part, history is marked by Mintanis. What was Bob's leader? Why I'm spacing on this for some reason. I should know this very well. Starts with an M. Whatever. Anyways, the history of Eve is controlled by dictator assholes more than it will ever be controlled by benevolent dictators. Like their care for their own empire is there maybe. Like I've seen a lot of leadership that cared for their people, but they want to fuck Eve. Anybody that's not part of their family, quote unquote, is a shit, piece of shit. And that's an okay way to look at life, to be honest. Like that's how most people view life in general, is that like if you're not family, if you're not close friend or a family member, then you are a piece of shit. I don't trust you. I don't know who you are. I would never invite you into my house. Like this is how a lot of people live their life, where there's like, if you're a friend of a friend, that's different. But if you're just some random person walking up and knocking on my door, get the fuck off my fucking porch. I will shoot your ass. Like, why the fuck are you trying to talk to me? Who the fuck are you? I'm standing my ground. I'm standing my ground. Like, that is a large chunk of how humans run their life. And that is, so it translates over to how Eve is run. Is that it is, if you're not part of the family, if you're, we don't want to benefit you if you're not part of the family. And I'm trying to bring a different thing to Eve to a certain degree, where I'm trying to I want to build up a really good, strong charm, but not for me and Hadeles, but not for me, for everybody. It's not about contracts. If it's contracts, it's public. It's, if it's on the market, it's on the market. We're just use the market system. Put that shit up there so that people can buy these items and be able to do PvP in Losec, or have a quick and easy way to get into Losec to do PvP, or allow them to touch, to dip their toe into the ocean that is Losec and say, hey, it's not so bad. Like, see, especially if you got buddies, like, do level 4s in Yvanger underneath the Federation frontline. You'll, I haven't had a single problem with it. I have not had a single combat probe come out to try and fuck with me. But then again, I'm Frozen Fallout, and I have 20 years of experience in this game, and my character sheet represents a large chunk of that. So
yeah, but this is a game of conflict. This is a battle game, and the only reason to push for peace is so that you can build a bigger army for the next fight. So right. Well, we're not fighting for peace. We're fighting for conflict. Is a big difference in what we're doing. Our peace, building up the market and charm, is to make money to feed the war machine.
Right, yeah, and to bring people to the war machine. Bring people to the war zone.
So to be that benevolent leader where I want peace and harmony. No, we don't want peace and harmony. We want conflict. I want to blow your ship up.
Right, yeah, and that is another thing about Eve that is different from, and maybe not even different, but it is a thing that it's like we do want conflict in Eve. Like, But it is different for what we do to what 0.0 does, because 0.0 wants to create a fail cascade in their enemy. They want their enemy to fall apart and die and wither, and to be a dominant force in the area, because the only way to really be solid in 0.0 is to be a dominant force in the area that you exist in. If you're not dominant, then you're in a very, very dangerous situation. You're in a very temporary situation if you're not the dominant force in your area. Whereas in LoSec and in faction warfare specifically of LoSec, being the dominant force is not a need in any way, shape, or form. Existence is perfectly fine as being a moderate force or a minor force in the in your galactic zone. Like, we're able to own Yvangir. We're not. I mean, we're like 10 to 20 like people that we have PvPing that we work with and stuff like that, right? But in general, there's like 5 to 10 of us that like do shit in Yvangir, like mostly 5,
actively, right? Regularly, yeah.
But we own Yvangir. Like, there's no other force that exists in Yvangir currently that rivals us. Not to say that that can't happen. So Blue Canary came in and they rivaled us, and we had a lot of fun. They had more numbers than we did, but like, we were willing to throw marauders and other crazy shit at their gate camps where they're unprepared. When they were prepared and they had dreads and stuff ready to drop on us, it was a thing. But we never actually encountered that because we chose to fight the gate camp when we knew it was easiest for us to take two marauders and a Newt battleship and a Newt-Ageddon and throw it into that fucking camp and be like, all right, let's kill like 3 or 4 of their ships, and then they scatter. And we didn't drive them out of Yvangir; they just moved out of Yvangir. But we had really great fights, and we can put up a fight with people who come to live there because we're established. So it takes you time to establish yourself, and then we've already, it's like we're not moving. So we either just continue this back and forth of fighting with each other over the gate, or you leave, and it's one or the other. It's fine, or we team up, whatever. But yeah, I would say that one of the big things is that there is actually room for growth and room for owning, quote unquote, a star system in EVE Online, in LoSec, than you ever will have in 0.0. Like 0.0, you might be able to like grab a little, rent from somebody, but unless you're a major dominant power, you don't own a goddamn thing out there. You are at the behest of your landlords. Whereas I have no master in Yvangir. I have competition, but I have no master. And you can't get me out. You can't remove me. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
Look, Eve is Lord of the Flies in space.
Oh, yes, it is.
All right, so anything else that we wanted to touch base on before we wrap things on up here? I think we've gone quite a bit over our normal thing here, but we had lots to talk about.
A lot of key points, yeah, which is good because the last month we had nothing to talk about. So, but yeah, we got some news. So looking forward to next week. Next week's show, we'll do some Warzone breakdown and traded some conflict numbers and stuff, outside of any other news that might come up. But that's all I have for you. And
awesome.
Eve Madison. Made it 10.
Oh, real quick, we did one thing is that Federation Frontline had its first war, and we won. We scared away the enemy as soon as they saw the forces that were gathered against them. There was a decision that was made that they would back out of the war, and surrender terms were created with no They didn't have to pay us shit. We don't have to pay them shit, and nobody's gonna lose anything. So the war is over. It lasted 2 days. We had a huge showing. We did kill a orca, a 2.6 billion-isk orca or something like that, along with a bunch of other dreads that got like smashed by Shadow Cartel when we got counter dropped, and that all, it was just a crazy fucked up night. So but yeah, so we are winning winning. But yeah, thank you all for watching, thank you all for listening, and have a great night.
Good night, everybody.